Listen, you don't need to be the smartest person in the room. You don't need perfect circumstances, wealthy parents, or a clean start. What you need is a decision. A decision that no matter how you feel, no matter what's happened, no matter who's watching, you're going to show up. Period. There's a war going on every morning when that alarm goes off. And the first battle is not out there, it's in here. It's that voice in your head that says 5 more minutes. It's the part of you that wants easy, that wants comfort, that tells you you've done enough. But you haven't. Because if your dream still feels distant, then it means today still matters. And today requires your grind. See, most people wait to feel like it. They wait to feel ready. But that's not how this game works. You move first. Action comes before emotion. You don't feel your way into discipline. You do your way into progress. You want confidence? It's earned. Every time you show up when it's hard, you're casting a vote for the strongest version of you. Stop treating your goals like they're optional. Stop looking at consistency like it's a luxury. You've got breath in your lungs. You've got time on the clock. That means the grind is your responsibility. No one is coming to push you. No one is going to knock on your door and say, here's your dream. You don't get it by chance. You get up and you go to war for it. Some of you are addicted to potential. You've been about to start for years, but the universe doesn't reward intentions. It rewards execution. Show me what you do when no one's clapping, when no one's watching, when the spotlight's off and the lights are dim. That's where the real you is born. You got to want it so bad that quitting isn't even on the menu. Hunger beats talent every single time. Why? Because when the talented one gets tired, the hungry one keeps grinding. When the gifted one gets bored, the gritty one pushes through. You don't need easy. You need discipline. And discipline means doing it even when every part of you wants to stop. Here's the truth. You are where you are because of your habits, not your hopes, not your dreams, your daily habits. Every rep you skip, every hour you waste, every excuse you entertain, it's a withdrawal from your own future. But every early morning, every late night, every uncomfortable rep, that's a deposit. And when you stack those deposits long enough, you cash in on something called greatness. So don't complain about results you didn't earn from work you didn't do. The grind is not punishment, it's a gift. It's the training ground of strength, resilience, and self-respect. And the moment you start to love the process more than the prize, you've already won. This is your wake-up call. Get up, show up, grow up. Grind until your reality catches up with your vision. Get up and grind because no one else can do your push-ups for you. Most people believe freedom means doing what you want, when you want, but real freedom, the kind that lasts, comes from discipline. It comes from doing what needs to be done, especially when you don't feel like doing it. That's the paradox of life. The more disciplined you are, the freer you become. Discipline is not a punishment. It's a doorway. It's the path to health, wealth, focus, strength, clarity, and confidence. Without it, your life is ruled by impulse. You're reactive instead of proactive. You move based on emotion, not direction. And emotion, unchecked, is unpredictable. One day you feel fired up, the next day you don't. One day you're in, the next day you're lost. That's not freedom. That's slavery. You're a prisoner of your moods, your distractions, and your excuses. But when discipline enters the room, everything changes. You wake up not based on how you feel, but based on what you've committed to. You don't skip the gym because you're tired. You go because it's non-negotiable. You don't eat what's easy, you eat what fuels you. You don't let your goals drift, you attack them daily. And that consistency, over time, becomes power. It builds self-respect. Because every time you follow through, every time you honor your word to yourself, you start trusting you. You start believing in you. Most people don't lack talent, they lack trust in their own discipline. They've broken their own promises so many times they stop believing they'll follow through. That's why discipline matters. It rebuilds the bridge between who you are and who you could be. Think about it. When your schedule is solid, your mind is clear. When your habits are aligned, your energy rises. When your priorities are real, your focus sharpens. Suddenly you're not pulled in 1,000 directions. You're not questioning yourself every step of the way. You're not wondering what's next. You know, you've designed your life to reflect your standards, not your emotions. And that's where the true power lives. In the quiet moments when you do what others won't. While others are sleeping in, you're upgrinded. While others are making excuses, you're taking action. While others are living in chaos, you've built structure. And that structure gives you something priceless. The ability to choose your direction. The ability to move with intention. That is freedom. So understand this. Discipline isn't the enemy of freedom. It's the foundation of it. Without discipline, you're always chasing motivation. You're always waiting. But with discipline, you become your own engine. You become the one in control. And when you control your habits, you control your future. That's what it means to live free. That's what it means to get up and grind. You don't wait to feel ready. You don't wait for the perfect moment or a wave of motivation to strike. You move. You take action, because when you move your body, you shift your mind. Motion creates emotion. The quickest way to change how you feel is to change what you do. Most people are stuck in a pattern of hesitation. They sit around hoping for energy, praying for inspiration, waiting for a spark. But the spark doesn't come from the outside, it comes from movement. The moment you stand up tall, breathe with purpose, walk with intensity, you start creating energy. You don't wait for the right mood, you generate the right mood. That's what champions do. They don't operate on feelings, they operate on standards. And the standard is move first, feel later. The truth is, the way you use your body is connected to how you live your life. Slouch down, breathe shallow, shuffle your feet, and your mind starts following that posture. You begin to feel small, tired, defeated. But if you stand tall, breathe deeply, move like someone with purpose, something shifts. You're sending a message to your brain. We're alive, we're here, we're ready. That message matters. It overrides fear, it bypasses doubt, it overrides laziness, it puts you back in charge. This is why your mornings matter. The way you move in the first hour of your day sets the tone for how your brain operates the rest of the day. You can't expect to feel powerful if you start your morning scrolling your phone in bed. You need to move. You need to engage your body like a warrior stepping into the arena. Because once you start moving, your brain stops resisting. This is how you get momentum. And momentum is the key to progress. People who wait for motivation never get far. But people who act their way into motivation build unstoppable momentum. They stop asking, do I feel like it today? And they start declaring, I do it because that's who I am. When you shift your identity to someone who moves no matter what, you free yourself from the trap of procrastination. Because the brain will always try to pull you back to safety. It's its job. But your job is to rewire it through consistent action. Action that says, we're not retreating, we're rising. If you want energy, if you want focus, if you want clarity, don't sit still. Move. Walk with purpose. Speak with certainty. Train like someone who's building a legacy. Because when you put your body in motion, your mind catches up. And when your mind catches up, everything else changes. So don't wait for the feeling. Move first and let the fire follow. Comfort is seductive. It whispers to you in the morning, telling you to stay in bed a little longer. It shows up when you're about to do something hard, convincing you to take the easy route instead. But here's the truth. Everything you want lives on the other side of discomfort. Growth, strength, clarity, success, none of it comes from staying comfortable. Comfort is the slow killer. It doesn't destroy your life overnight. It slowly numbs you. It makes you soft. It makes you question your hunger. And before you know it, you've lowered your standards, You've compromised your dreams, and you've accepted average, all in the name of comfort. The grind begins the moment you step out of what's familiar. It begins when you do what others avoid. Most people never experience what they're capable of because they always take the easy option. They choose sleep over discipline, Netflix over study, distraction over purpose. But comfort never challenges you. It never demands your best. It never reveals what you're made of. You don't build resilience on the couch. You don't build confidence by playing it safe. You build it in the struggle, in the sweat, in the pain of pushing past where you used to stop. Growth lives in the reps you don't want to do. It lives in the conversations you're afraid to have, in the risks that scare you, in the habits that feel hard to create. That's where transformation begins. You've got to train your mind to stop craving easy. Easy is a lie. It promises happiness but delivers regret. It promises rest but leaves you restless. The truth is, you don't need more comfort. You need more challenge. Because challenge is what unlocks strength. And that strength is what creates a life you're proud of. The reason some people rise while others stall isn't luck. It's their relationship with discomfort. Winners don't run from it. They lean into it. They embrace it. They understand that pain is part of the process, that resistance isn't a signal to stop. It's a sign they're on the right path. The more uncomfortable it gets, the more they know they're growing. So if you're waiting for it to feel easy, you're going to be waiting a long time. Stop chasing comfort and start chasing growth. The version of you that you're meant to become, that version doesn't live inside your comfort zone. That version is built in the grind, in the early mornings, in the late nights, in the quiet moments where nobody's watching, but you still show up. That's where champions are made. That's where your real power is formed. Because when you get comfortable being uncomfortable, nothing can break you and no goal is out of reach. Every single day, you're casting a vote, not in a ballot box, but in your behavior. And what you do each day is either a vote for the person you say you want to be or a vote for the person you've been trying to leave behind. The grind isn't about one big dramatic moment. It's about consistency. It's about the small decisions, the silent wins, the disciplines that seem insignificant in the moment, but build unstoppable momentum over time. The truth is, your life is not shaped by what you occasionally do. It's shaped by what you repeatedly do. So when you show up every day, even when it's boring, even when it's hard, even when no one is clapping for you, that's when you're building a foundation that lasts. Most people look at successful individuals and think it's some magical talent or moment that got them there. But it wasn't magic. It was repetition. It was waking up and doing what needed to be done whether they felt like it or not. It was voting over and over for the habits that aligned with their vision. That daily repetition compounds. And just like money compounds in a bank, effort compounds in your character. You start to become someone you trust, someone you believe in, because you've seen what happens when you stay the course. But here's where most people get it wrong. They think they need to go all in on day one. They burn out trying to be perfect instead of being consistent. And when things get tough, they quit, not realizing that the grind was never meant to be a sprint. It's a lifetime marathon. And every step, every rep, every early morning or late night, it counts. It's a vote. So when you hit snooze, when you skip the workout, when you delay the work, you're voting for the version of yourself that stays stuck. And when you push through, when you show up, when you execute, it's a vote for the stronger future version of you. That's how greatness is built. Not in grand gestures, but in daily discipline. Your habits are building your identity. You're literally sculpting the story of your life through what you do every day. So stop waiting for motivation and start acting like the person you want to become. Make choices that reflect that version of you. Because if you want to change your life, you don't need to change everything all at once. You just need to win the day and then win the next one. One decision at a time, one vote at a time. That's how transformation happens. That's how leaders are born. That's how leaders are built. Excuses are clever. They dress themselves up as logic. They sound reasonable. They say things like, I'm too tired today, or I'll start when things settle down, or I'm just not feeling it right now. And they come from a familiar voice, your own. But make no mistake, those excuses are lies. Lies your mind tells you to keep you safe, to keep you small, to protect your comfort, even if it costs you your greatness. The brain is wired for survival, not success. It wants predictability, not pressure. So every time you attempt to stretch yourself, every time you try to step into the unknown, your brain sends out warnings, not because you're incapable, but because you're entering unfamiliar territory. And what's unfamiliar often feels unsafe. But feeling unsafe doesn't mean you're in danger. It means you're growing. You've got to become a master at recognizing the difference between truth and excuse. Because that voice in your head will negotiate your potential away if you let it. It will tell you tomorrow is better. It will convince you that you need more information, more motivation, more certainty. But what you really need is execution. You need action. You need to shut the door on the conversation and move your feet. Because if you start negotiating with excuses, you'll lose every time. You don't argue with weakness. You silence it with action. You don't reason with laziness. You replace it with movement. The only way to defeat that internal resistance is to do the thing anyway. You train your mind through repetition. Every time you choose discipline over excuse, your brain starts rewiring. It starts understanding that you're in control now, that you're not going to let fleeting feelings dictate your direction, that you're not going to settle for the easy road anymore. And eventually, the voice that used to be full of doubt, hesitation, and delay, that voice begins to shrink, not because it disappears, but because you've stopped giving it authority. You've stopped letting it lead. You can't build an extraordinary life on a foundation of excuses. You can't rise with the weight of your own justifications holding you down. You must decide that your dream is more important than your comfort, that your future matters more than your feelings. And when that decision is made, everything changes. The voice that once had power becomes background noise. And all that's left is you, focused, relentless, committed. So the next time that excuse shows up, recognize it for what it is, a test to see who's in charge, the old you or the one you're becoming. Choose wisely. Because each time you reject the excuse, you cast a vote for the strongest, most disciplined version of yourself. And that version doesn't make excuses. That version gets up and grinds. You don't need to be the most talented. You don't need to be born with some rare gift or have the perfect background. What you need is grit. What you need is hunger. Because grit will take you places talent never will. Hunger will carry you through when motivation fades, when plans fall apart, when life throws punches that knock the breath out of you. Talent is a nice advantage, but it's not the determining factor of success. The world is full of talented people who never became anything more than potential. Why? Because they weren't willing to outgrind their limitations. Everyone has limitations. Some are physical, some are mental, some are situational. But here's the truth. The grind doesn't care what your limitations are. It only responds to effort. It responds to how often you show up, how hard you push, how deep you're willing to dig when things get hard. And they will get hard. There will be days when it feels like you're behind, like you're not enough, like the mountain's too big. But in those moments, you don't retreat, you double down. You lean into the challenge. Because if you let limits define you, they'll build your prison. But if you challenge them, you'll build your power. The grind is the great equalizer. It doesn't ask where you started, it asks how far you're willing to go. It doesn't reward excuses or intentions or potential. It rewards sweat. It rewards repetition. It rewards consistency. That's how you earn progress when no one's watching, when no one's clapping, when no one believes in you yet. The grind is what turns doubt into proof. It's what transforms fear into fuel. And when you show up day after day, regardless of how you feel, you chip away at your limits, you outgrow them. You prove that you were never really stuck, you were just untrained in perseverance. Understand this, success isn't about having the perfect plan. It's about doing the work, especially when you don't want to. It's about being the one who refuses to quit, the one who keeps moving forward, even when progress is invisible. Because real transformation isn't loud. It happens quietly in the early mornings, in the late nights, in the moments when you choose one more rep, one more call, one more step. You may not feel it now, but every grind is building something. Every grind is changing your identity. So if you want to win, stop asking for it to be easy. Ask for the strength to endure. Ask for the resilience to persist. Ask for the grit to outlast the noise. Because the people who rise to the top are never just the most gifted. They are the ones who outgrinded every obstacle, every setback, and every limitation that tried to stand in their way.